Hi class, I'm Meryl Geffner. I'm the librarian that works with the English department. I know you have essay number 4 coming up where you'll be writing about code switching in contemporary American films. You'll be choosing from 4 different films for your essay, and also you will need to use at least 3 outside sources. So this video, it will take you through showing you how to find those sources, primarily using the library databases. Also at the end, I'll show you a resource that we have that will help you set up your MLA citation so you can learn to correctly cite the sources for your essay. So let's get started. First, let's think about what type of information you need for your essay. What kind of information do you want to read about the film that you've selected? First thing is you'll want to look for reviews of your film. You also may want to look for information about the film's director. And also, since you are writing about code switching, you want to look at the role of race in contemporary American films. So now we're going to look for this information by searching in 2 of the library databases. So let's go there now. So we're going to get to the library databases by starting on the library homepage, and we're going to scroll down to this heading right here, Library Resources, and I'm going to click on this link, Search Databases, Books, eBooks, Articles, and Films, and it will take us to this page. This is our list of databases that we have. For your essay, I would recommend using 2 of our databases, or 1, but I'm going to show you 2, so you have the choice. The first database I'm going to show you is Proquest. This is probably one of the best databases you could use for your essay. It has a large selection of articles from magazines, newspapers, and also journals. Any of those would be really excellent sources for you to use for your essay. So I'm going to start with Proquest, and to get there I'm going to click. And since we are all off campus working remotely, you will need to log in with your Canvas credentials. This is for faculty, so don't do that. Use your Canvas, log in the same way you would for Canvas. And we're going to click on Login, and it should take you directly into the database. If it doesn't, please email me immediately so I can see what kind of problems you may solve, any problems you may be having. So one thing I'll say about the databases before I go a whole lot further, these are subscription databases that the library pays for our students to use, so they're only available to our students, which is why you'll need to log in. And they have a large range of articles from publications that exist in print, some of which you can find for free on the web, but many of which you will find, for example, like the Seattle Times or the New York Times, you will hit a paywall after you've looked at a couple articles. So those publications are also in our databases, and you can go in there for free. So let's get started and do a search. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate a couple different searches to help you find the examples of all three of those pieces of information that I showed you. So for the first one, we're going to look for a review of one of the films. And I'm going to look for Sorry to Bother You. So I just type in the title, and I would highly recommend that you put your title in quotes. This will tell the database that you want that it will treat it as a phrase, so it's going to keep those words together since this is a formal title. So I'm going to type that in the first box, and then we're going to do a few other things, and these are all very important when you're in the databases because this will help direct your search. A very important piece is to check this box right here, limit full text. That means you will only get articles that have the full articles. So you will find in the database that you'll get a record which has the title and the author and a few other bits of information, but not the entire article attached electronically. So if you check that box, you will only get those that have the full article so you can read them. Okay, so full text, remember that, very important. And then we're going to scroll down to source type and pick a few types of sources where you might find good articles. And I would recommend for your essay to check magazines. They're great sources of film reviews. Also newspapers, excellent sources for reviews. You might also want to check blogs, podcasts, and websites. That's a little trickier, but you might want to see what they have. But primarily you want to look at magazines and newspapers. So that's under source type. Next, let's move over to document type. And in here, since we are looking specifically for film reviews, we can skip all of this and let's head on down to the R. This is all alphabetical. There it is. So by clicking on that, I'm hopefully eliminating a lot of other different types of documents. So we're not getting editorials, we're not getting reports, we're not getting, as you can see here, obituaries. These are all different kinds of articles. I'm not even just getting news. I really want reviews. So that will help my search quite a bit. So remember those three areas: full text, source type, and document type. Now let's do a search. And I come up with a nice list of only 43, which is perfect. I don't want to be looking through hundreds and hundreds of articles. I want to have a nice short list. And because we designated a magazine or a newspaper and we said we wanted a review and we were very specific with our title right here, that gave us a nice list to look through. And now we can scroll through some of the titles and we can see here what type of source it is. So this is a magazine, Sight and Sound, which is an excellent magazine to look for reviews in. Reason, another magazine, and here we have a newspaper. So then we can open one of them up. Let's look at Sight and Sound. And when you are looking for reviews, the main thing you want to look for is that there is some substance, that they're not just a couple lines long, and I'll show you what I mean. So here's the review here. This, yeah, it's just in this column over here, and it comes down to here. So this might be definitely something that you would want to take a look at. And let's say you want to look at this article. You have all these nice options over here. You can print it out, of course, if you like to hold something in your hand and read it. You can also email it to yourself. You can also download it. And if you use the Google tools, if you click on all options, you can click on this one right here, Google Drive, and it will just automatically dump your citation, dump the whole article into your Google Drive, and it'll be there waiting for you. So those are all really useful tools that you'll want to take advantage of because they help you save articles that you find. So you're not going back and trying to find them over and over and over again. So that's pretty easy to use. I want to show you just a slight contrast. So here is another, let's look at a newspaper, and I'm going to look at the review in the newspaper here. And this is an example of a review of which there is not much content. So you can see right here, this is basically a one-line summary, one-sentence summary of the review of the film, and really does not give you any information at all in terms of something that actually critiques it or gives you some more in-depth information. So you don't want to be using this type of newspaper article that is so short. You want to find reviews that have some substance to them. Right? So that is Proquest. And we looked for reviews, but you could also modify your search and remove the review option if you want to open it up and to look for more articles, see what else you might be able to find about the film. Okay? So that's Proquest. The other database I want to show you is Academic Search Premier. This might be another useful one. This isn't quite as large as Proquest, but it is a good database. So we're going to click on that, and it'll take us right in. And in this one also, we could do a search for a review of the film. I want to show a slightly different search because remember our 3 pieces of information that we're looking for. So we hit our film review. The second one was to find some information about the director of the film. So for this one, I'm going to go with Black Klansman, the second film, and I'm just going to do a search on Spike Lee, who's the director. And I'm going to do a slightly different search because I either can just search on his name, that's fine, but I think I want to see if there is an interview with him because that might give me some really good insight into how he approaches his films. So I'm going to look under document type, and I think there is an option. There's film review. If we're looking for reviews, I could click that. Let's see, did I miss it? There's an interview. I'm going to click on interview right there. And then the other very important piece, just like in Proquest, is I must click full text, so I get that full text article. And now let's do a search. So here's another good list, about 40, a good amount of time. And here's this first one right here. This is a pretty current interview, and it's from Time Magazine, which is an excellent, a good magazine to use. And we can see down here is the full text, so I'm just going to open it up. And here's the full text over here. You can scroll down here and see it. Here's the review. And let me go back to my list because if you notice, I did not put the title of the film in the box. I could have. If I want to see limit my articles just to what he says about that film. But you might want to be a little broader and see generally how he approaches making his films. But if you look at the second one, it is here in the title right here. And if we open that one up, and this again, you can see this is all of our information. You're going to need this for your citation, your title, your author, the name of the magazine, and here's the full text of the article right on this side right here. And you can see, looks like he's got the cover story. And this looks like a really good, substantial interview with Spike Lee. So this would be a really great resource. And again, you have these nice tools to help you save this article. You can email it to yourself. You can print it. You can put it in your Google Drive. Also, I will point out, I didn't point out this on Proquest because there are some problems, but they all do have site generators right here. So if you click on that, and you'll see that they give you different examples of how to cite this article. You can scroll down to MLA, and here's an example. What I would say about using these citation tools, they're very useful. You don't have to start your citation from scratch, but if you do use them, you can copy and paste it, make sure you put it in a draft, and you double check it before you turn in your final essay, because any type of computer generated citation does have errors in it, so you want to make sure yours is as clean and perfect as possible. The one reason I did not show you the citation tool in Proquest is because the Proquest citations are all incorrect. They are using an old MLA format, MLA 7. We have been using MLA 8 for at least 3 years, if not more. So if you do copy and paste a citation for Proquest, you need to double check it because it has a lot of errors in it. So just keep that in mind. But the one in here in Academic Search Premier is generally pretty good. Just, again, double check it. So another way, I want to show you one other search. So here we searched on the director, and again, you could do a search on Spike Lee and Proquest, use either database or both of them. And the other thing, remember, our third type of information we want is maybe to look at the role of race. So we can go a little bit broader, and we can say Black or African American, and we could again say directors, which would be let's say film directors, just to be clear. The clearer you are in the databases, the better. Or films. We can just kind of broaden it out. So this is going to should give us more articles. And it does. It goes beyond just Spike Lee. But what this might do is give you some context and background for understanding your film, and some articles that talk about African American filmmakers and African American films in general. So just keep that in mind. Play around it it all will depend what type of information you're looking for. But if you could use I would highly recommend doing these kind of searches. You should be able to find some good articles, even if they don't specifically talk about your film. They will give you some context and some background. Okay, so those are the databases. Very quickly, I just want to kind of do a web search because I'm sure some of you will be on the web, on the open web. So I'm just going to go do a Google search. And here what I would recommend, again, is if you're looking particularly for reviews, use those quotation marks. So for this one, I'm going to do 40-year-old version. I'm going to put that title in quotation marks. Quotation marks is a tool that works in any search engine or a database. And I'm going to say review after it because I want to be very specific. And hopefully I got some good reviews here. We're not going to use Rotten Tomatoes, and I think that's mentioned in your assignment to not use Rotten Tomatoes. Remember, you are looking for not just fan comments, but you're looking for reviews from that are published in prominent publications and are from well-known critics. So this first one right here, if you find something from the New Yorker is an excellent magazine. I would highly recommend looking at something like that for any of your reviews. And again, just open it up, easy enough. And here we have the review. And again, it's got some, you can tell it has some substance to it because it's longer. You just don't want to use those reviews that are just like a half a paragraph. It's just not enough. And you can certainly email that to yourself. And then you might want to browse through, see what else. Here's another one from the Hollywood Reporter. That would certainly be a good resource. Also a publication, another substantial review. And you might want to take a look, always take a look and see who the reviewer is. This is the way of looking at the authors. Here she looks like she's a critic for the Hollywood Reporter. And again, because she's an African-American woman, she might have a particular perspective based on her lived experience in about this film, which might be different, say, from the one in the New Yorker, who is, let's see if we can find something. There we go. Richard Brody, who looks like he's probably a white man. So again, look for different perspectives. That's always interesting to pay close attention to, okay? So lastly, I want to show you just a tool for helping you with your citations. And I'm going to go back to the library homepage, and under Library Resources, if you go to Citation Guides, click on that, and go to MLA. And so this is the guide that the library has put together. And as you can see, we have examples of different types of sources that you might be citing. So this is an academic article from a database. This is citing a page on from a website, which you might use. Let me go back to this one for a minute. This would be pretty much you use a similar example for any magazine or newspaper that you find in a database. And there are some other ones on here, how to cite a film, if you're including anything from image of a film, something like that. We also have a link on here that will help you with your formatting. Make sure you know how to do a hanging indent. All your citations should be set up double space, hanging indent, and of course don't forget to alphabetize your citations. And lastly, here's a page which talks about in-text citations. So that's about it. If you have any questions, please contact me. Here is my contact information, and I also put a link on here to the MLA citation guide in case you, well, I showed you how to find it, but hopefully you will remember how to find it. But here is a link just in case. Any questions about your sources, any questions about citations, please don't hesitate to send me an email. Thanks for listening. Sorry this is kind of long, but I hope it was helpful. Bye-bye.